Hello for the fourth Sunday of Lent, using only the Gospel, rather long, but it's Luke 15, 1 to 32, and it deals with the prodigal son, or as some people call this Gospel, the Prodigal Father, and deals with two sons, sort of a good one and a bad one, and a good father. You know, my father, Stan, had 5 children. He had one son by his first wife, my brother Paul, and he had 2 girls and 2 sons by his second wife, my mother. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the 2 sons by my mother, my brother Dick, and me, Larry, his brother. Now, Dick was about 2.5 years older than me, stronger than me, and sort of could whip me. And so we had this sibling rivalry, and we many times didn't get along. Of course, as I said, he was stronger, but I was clever, or maybe more evil than he was. Now, my sister-in-law Lois knows this story, who married Dick. But when we were early on, we played blind man's bluff upstairs, and I said, "Okay, Dick." I tied on the bluff on his eyes and let him around. Said, "Now you're going into our bedroom. Now you're going into our sister's bedroom, the bathroom, and our parents' room. And now you're going back into the bedroom." And well, it really wasn't true. It was the stairwell. So I told him to take one great step for humankind. And he went down there and I almost killed him. And my father was so angry at me, he almost killed me. But at any rate, 2 sons, Dick and Larry. And we were both bad and we were both good, just like these prodigal sons. They were both good and both bad. We just read the story, and it's a great story. It's a classical story. In fact, it's supposed to be the finest short story in the New Testament. That first son, sure, he was wild, and he took off and he blew the money of the estate, or what he got from his dad, with prostitutes and wild living, and if he comes to his senses and he comes back, and the father receives him back. And the second son, who is sort of a goody two-shoes, or he was always good, and when that son came back, he was upset what the father did for him. This father loved both sons. This father was a great father. He loved both sons. He was a great father, and this story is so great because it reminds us of God the Father, or God. That he loves all of us. Always, infinitely, always ready to forgive. Like that father. Let's have a big party. He's back. He's back to life again. He's come home. He's shaping up. He's wonderful. Put a ring on him. Put a robe on him. Let's cut the fattened calf. And the other guy, the other son, was good too. I mean, he worked. And the father said, "Look, I love you. Everything I have is yours now." And he meant it. So that father was super duper father, first class. Those sons were like Dick and Larry. I say I might be the more evil because I'm sure I had the police at our front door more than anybody in the family. I don't remember Dick or Paul having the police in the front door. I had it multiple times. But at any rate, God's love is so good, it's even better than his father. And God loves us. And the thing that we miss so often, I think in the church over hundreds of years, is we make God an angry man and a God that really wants us to shape up. And God will love us when and if you change and are good, then God loves you. Well, I'm sorry, folks. That's not God. God loves you before you change. When you sin, if you don't change, He totally loves you. Look at that. Now here's the clincher. God loves you so much that if you ever realize that, you will change. God loves us when we sin, and He wants to forgive us, and He wants us to forgive us. He wants us to change. He's not waiting for us to change and then He's going to love us. And sometimes we sort of think that. You know, there's one little thing here about one of my sisters, and that's my sister Nancy. And Nancy is Sister Nance, a Notre Dame nun. And I think of my relationship with my father and hers. And this second son, he wouldn't go into the party, would he? You know, he says, this son of yours, he did all these things, and he wouldn't go into the party. And here's what I like, what he said. Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son, returns, who swallowed up your property with prostitutes, for him you slaughtered the fattened calf. Now here's just a little thing. It's a very little. My father loved when I went into seminary. And you'd go away for months. And you'd come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. And he would say, Larry, what would you like for supper? Well, that was nice. But I remember my sister, the nun, getting really uptight with my father because she said, I'm here all the time and you never ask me what I want for supper. He comes back from the seminary and you ask him, what do you want for your supper? I think these things in this story not only apply to two sons, it applies to brothers and sisters and husbands and wives and dads and moms. At any rate, God loves us infinitely, and He loves us even when we're not good. The rain comes down on the just and the unjust. The love of God is love on the just and unjust. We're the ones who have the problem. We need to change, but we really need to realize how much God loves us. And if you realize that, you're going to love yourself. You're going to be happy with yourself. And you're going to go out and love your neighbor as yourself. You'll be happy. Have a good day.